We have a clear legal duty to certify the result of the election as shown by the returns that were given to us. We cannot and should not go beyond that. As John Adams once said, we are a government of laws, not men. And this board needs to adhere to that principle here today. This board must do its part to uphold the rule of law and comply with our legal duty to certify this election. I will be supporting the motion.
I will be supporting the motion by which American democracy was rescued from the brink. That low-key Zoom meeting happened on November 23rd, just a few weeks after the 2020 presidential election. Joe Biden had definitively been called the winner. Donald Trump had lost. Biden had won critical swing states like Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, Mr. Van Langevelde's home state of Michigan. Trump, though, you may recall, said that he had not lost the election. He said that Biden really hadn't won. He'd won. Trump said the election results had to be nullified. He should be declared the winner in a whole bunch of states that he, in fact, lost. And it's crazy enough in American democracy that he said that publicly, starting on election night. But then he started acting on it, too. And it was actually, looking back at it, a careful, pretty methodical, coordinated plan to try to get the election overturned, to not just thump his chest and yell about it, but to actually try to do it. And yeah, we all remember the grammatically incorrect, misspelled lawsuits and the rage tweets and the Rudy Giuliani of it all. But there was something else that was more methodical and more dangerous going on, too. Let's stay on Michigan for a second. The election in Michigan in November wasn't close. Biden won Michigan by more than 150,000 votes. But to win the presidency, to get enough electoral votes to stay in the White House, Trump needed Michigan and more states like Michigan in his column. And so he tried to get Michigan overturned a few weeks after the election, but before the results were formally certified in Michigan, before his loss was thereby legally set in stone. Trump did what he could. He tried. He enacted a plan to try to get the election results in Michigan overturned. He summoned the top 2 Republicans in the Michigan state legislature. He brought them to Washington, to the White House, to try to get them to join his scheme to overturn the legitimate election results in Michigan. Part of the plan was to get the state canvassing board in Michigan to delay the certification of the election results based on the president's made-up allegations of voter fraud. Delaying that certification would cast doubt on the legitimacy of the results, and that would fuel Trump's scheme to get the canvassing board to ultimately come in and nullify the election results, overturn the election, and declare him the winner. What Donald Trump wanted those Republican state lawmakers to do when he summoned them to D.C. was to lean on the Republicans who were on the state canvassing board, to get them to follow Trump's directives, to vote to delay the certification of the election result in Michigan, thereby helping his scheme to ultimately overturn the results in that state. He planned lots of different ways to do this in lots of different states. That's how he was going to go after it in Michigan. And when you spell it, I mean, we all lived through it, but it's still crazy sounding, right? You spell it out like that. He was really trying to do that. It's nuts. What's even nuttier, though, is how close it came to working. There's 4 members on that state canvassing board in Michigan, 2 Democrats, 2 Republicans. You'd need a majority to vote together in order to certify that Biden won the election in that state. Before that vote, the Republican state party chair, the Republican National Party chair, and, of course, the head of the Republican Party, the President of the United States, all weighed in and told both of those Republicans on that canvassing board that they needed to vote against certification. They needed to refuse to admit that Joe Biden had been the legitimate winner of the election in Michigan. And one of those Republicans went along. He didn't vote to certify Biden as the winner in Michigan. The other one, however, told the president no. That young Republican lawyer, Aaron Van Langevelde. He was the only Republican on that board who stood up to the president and to the chair of the National Republican Party and the chair of his state party. He sat and sort of spoke quietly on Zoom, but thereby stood up and saved democracy. There's a ton of power behind his words and what he did. He joined the 2 Democrats on the board and voted to certify the legitimate results of the election in Michigan, thereby putting the final nail in the coffin in the president's scheme to pressure Michigan Republicans to overturn the election for him. And so, I mean, you see what I mean here. If it wasn't for that one guy in Michigan on Zoom proverbially standing up to the president, things might have gone very differently. It's one thing to know that Trump didn't accept the election results and wanted to overturn them. It's another thing to see how close he came to doing it. Hey, thanks for watching our YouTube channel. You should know that you can follow today's top stories and breaking news and catch up on your favorite MSNBC shows all in one place. Download the NBC News app today.